Welcome to episode
102.
Yeah, 102. I was going to say 101 again.
Yeah, that would have been embarrassing.
Welcome to episode 102 of the All the Books Show, the official podcast of the David A. Howe Public Library. We talk book news, literary news, and author news. I'm Eric Mickles.
I'm Nick Gunning, and with us for the 8th time, Steve VanValkenburg. Say hello.
Hello.
That's my little brother, everyone. My little brother who went to a Name That Tune contest with Eric and rocked the 50s and 60s.
Nailed it.
I'm told. I feel like I should get a little credit for that, for introducing
Don't take
you
this from me.
to 50s and 60s music. Anyway, none of that's relevant. The reason why we have Steve here today, other than we like him, is because we're finally going to just sit down and talk about, Eric, don't deny it. You know it's happening. You know what it is. James Patterson, ladies and gentlemen. The James Patterson phenomena that's sweeping the nation. We're going to be talking about all things James Patterson coming up later in the episode.
Haven't we been doing this for about 101 episodes?
We have had a lot of off-the-cuff conversations about James Patterson, but this is an official spotlight. We're doing it. Steve has suffered for this podcast. He's glad that we're at a point where he can stop reading James Patterson. So, Steve, I appreciate your dedication. Eric, I appreciate your roguish good looks. I don't know what else to say. So let's get to it. Anything else you want to talk about before we dig into our bookmarks, Eric? Usually you like to talk about movies or video games.
Bill Clinton and James Patterson recording Spielberg and Clooney to adapt their President book.
Wow.
I don't want to talk about that during the Patterson spotlight.
Okay, so you just
want
want
to bring it out now.
You want to front load with that and just be done. Okay.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I mean, it's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of star power, I guess.
If
you could say that. All right, we're gonna dig into James Patterson a little bit later.
Yeah.
Probably make fun of James Patterson a little bit.
Yeah.
But also talk about his work.
Okay.
Let's talk bookmark right now. So, Eric, what have you been reading?
All right, I've been reading the movie Dunkirk
Oh, okay.
in theaters.
Yeah.
So
There is a book.
is there?
Yeah.
I don't want to read it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, boy, you don't even have fingernails left after watching that movie. You just bit them right down to the nubs.
Yeah.
So, not good for your heart.
No.
Either.
Or my knuckles.
Yeah, Eric's on the edge of his seat the whole time.
Sure.
But thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and you should see it in the theaters.
All
It's
right.
great.
I'm going to check it out.
It's very suspenseful.
I'm definitely
But
going to check it out.
maybe because I said that, you'll go in and be like, I didn't think it was suspenseful.
Oh,
but
maybe
you will.
Maybe I will.
Nice.
You know what? As a counterpoint,
Uh-huh.
Steve liked Valerian.
Oh, boy. All
did
right, I'm
not
just
like
going to...
Valerian.
Dig in here, Steve. Get into that
gonna step
microphone.
aside.
Why do you like Valerian?
Maybe it's because I expected it to be bad and I liked it more than I thought I would, so
Okay.
I was buoyed by my experience.
But to be fair, Steve also likes The Phantom Menace, which you compared it to. So
That's true.
yeah. So it could be.
Sure did.
Just, your wife also liked it and also likes Phantom Menace. So maybe that's like a prerequisite.
It's the Phantom
You
Menace
have to-
effect.
yeah, the Phantom Menace effect. So anyway, so you watched Dunkirk, but have you read any books?
Yeah, for this Patterson thing.
Oh, you don't want to get into them now.
No.
Okay.
So
Graphic novels,
did I
anything like that?
read any... No, it was all just like stopping myself from reading Patterson until I absolutely had to.
Yeah, I know.
So.
I know. You were a real pain about it. How about you, Steve? You read anything good? You don't have to talk about the James Pattersons yet.
All right.
Anything else you'd recommend?
right now, I'm actually in the process of reading A Picture of Dorian Gray, the graphic novel.
Oh. We have a couple of graphic novel adaptations of classics.
Yeah.
You're a big Dorian Gray fan.
I am a big Dorian Gray fan.
Would you say that's your favorite book?
It's up there.
Up there.
It's
All
hard
right.
to say.
In the
That's
top.
a
Okay,
real
I haven't
broad
read it,
statement.
so I need to get in there and read
Timeless,
it.
I would say.
All right, so you're reading the Dorian Gray graphic novel, and so far you like it.
I do like it so far, yes.
Okay, that's good. I also did a little reading for the podcast, which we won't get into right now. I finished Hunted, James Patterson Bookshot. Finished the things I was reading last week, and I've started Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. And it starts with a lot of correspondence. Like the first, 50 pages are mostly like back and forth, like email conversations and things like that. Which, I don't know. Eric, do you find that annoying? Because I do.
Maybe?
It just like there's not a whole lot of like narrative. It's just like message to this person, message to this person, message to this person.
Annoying.
And it's not that it's done poorly. It's just a little hard to get into the book when it's like I've been reading a long time without you're piecing the story together, but I kind of wanted to hit the ground running a little bit more.
Right.
But I am enjoying the writing, so I think I will come around to liking it. This is for the Contemporary Classics Book Club. The Page Turners Book Club, which we couldn't remember last week, finishing up Split Second by David Baldacci.
Your new favorite book.
No. Starting Nobody Knows by Mary Jane Clark, which will be new for the book club. We have not read a Mary Jane Clark. We've read a Carol Higgins Clark. We've read a Mary Higgins Clark.
Yeah.
Now Mary Jane
Mary
Clark.
Jane Parker.
Mary Jane
Mary Jane
Clark.
Watson.
No. Mary Jane Clark, the former daughter-in-law of Mary Higgins Clark. So probably a good move on her part to keep the name. So she's filed alphabetically near Mary Higgins Clark. But anyway, you can join us for those book clubs anytime you want.
Okay. If I sound attached for like the next however long, it's because I just found out James Patterson reviews movies, so I'll be bringing that to the table.
Oh, good. Okay,
So-
good.
Oh, hey, big surprise.
Yeah.
They're really short reviews.
Yeah.
So maybe we should
Reviewed
get
by James Patterson and Maxine
and
Pietro.
Maxine Pietro.
Okay. What do you got for book news? You want me to go first?
Hold on. Maybe I should save this for.
I think you should,
Now
yeah.
I just got mad.
All right, go ahead.
James Patterson's review of Logan reads, "Finally, a comic book movie with a beginning, middle, and ending."
Huh.
And then it just says, "Kudos to director, writer James Mangold and our good friend Hugh Jackman." A.
Well, maybe he means
Yeah, there were no other superhero movies ever. No comic book movies, because that's what he means. Then he's not just saying superhero movies. He means any movie that's based on a comic book has never had a beginning, middle, and ending.
Who would have thought you'd disagree with James Patterson?
He gave it an A.
And
What
now I
kind
know.
of? Ugh.
Wait, but he gave it a positive review. He just thinks...
I read you the full review
That's the full review.
with the A at the end.
All right.
It was the pick of the week, by the way.
Okay. Well, good news. Thanks for sharing. I'm going to tell you my book news while Eric simmers down. So, here's what we got coming to you. We're pushing into October now, so this might be a good Halloween book for you, Eric. In the Midst of Winter by Isabel Allende. New York Times and worldwide best-selling, dazzling storyteller Isabel Allende returns with a sweeping novel about three very different people who are brought together in a mesmerizing story that journeys from present-day Brooklyn to Guatemala in the recent past to 1970s Chile and Brazil. What do you think about that? Probably not going to be on your Halloween reading list?
No.
Okay, stop reading those reviews and listen to the words
All
I
right,
say.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this is making me mad.
All right, Jeffrey Archer, who's just coming off his Clifton Chronicles series, been going for a long time.
Yeah.
The final one of those came out recently, and now he's publishing his first work of short stories in a very long time.
Was he known for that before?
I think that's where he started and then moved into Clifton Chronicles and a few other things. But this is coming out in October. Telltale Short Stories by Jeffrey Archer. Nearly a decade after his last volume of short stories was published, Jeffrey Archer returns with his eagerly awaited brand new collection, Telltale, giving us a fascinating, exciting, and sometimes poignant insight into the people he's met, the stories he's come across, and the countries he's visited during the past 10 years. Huh. So that sounds a little nonfiction. Hard to say. Well, maybe a mix of both. Anyway, if you're a Jeffrey Archer fan still reeling from the end of the Clifton Chronicles, look no further than October, where you can read Telltale by Jeffrey Archer. Finally, and good timing, we have to announce that Robert Langdon Book 5 is coming out on October 3rd. Are you excited about that? Yeah.
Why is this good timing?
Because Steve's here.
Oh.
And one of one of Steve's past glories on this podcast was doing a spotlight on Dan Brown. So if you want to go back and check out our spotlight on Dan Brown, that is episode 77 of all the books. But Origin is coming out in October. So I don't know the synopsis of this, so now we're going to find out right now. Are you ready, Steve?
I'm excited.
Robert Langdon, Harvard professor of symbology and religious iconology, there you go, arrives at the ultra-modern Guggenheim Museum, Bilbo, to attend a major announcement, the unveiling of a discovery that will, quote, change the face of science forever, end quote. The evening's host is Edmund Kirsch, a 40-year-old billionaire and futurist whose dazzling high-tech inventions and audacious predictions have made him a renowned global figure. Kirsch, who was one of Langdon's first students at Harvard 2 decades earlier, is about to reveal an astonishing breakthrough, one that will answer two of the fundamental questions of human existence. As the event begins, Langdon and several hundred guests find themselves captivated by an utterly original presentation, which Langdon realizes will be far more controversial than he ever imagined. But the meticulously orchestrated evening suddenly erupts into chaos, and Kirsch's precious discovery teeters on the brink of being lost forever. Reeling and facing an imminent threat, Langdon is forced into a desperate bid to escape Bilbo. With him is Ambra Vidal, an elegant museum director who worked with Kirsch to stage the provocative event. Together they flee to Barcelona on a perilous quest to locate a cryptic password that will unlock Kirsch's secret. Still hooked, you guys?
Yeah. I mean, I'll read it.
Yeah. Navigating the dark corridors of hidden history and extreme religion, Langdon and Vidal must evade a tormented enemy whose all-knowing power seems to emanate from Spain's royal palace itself, and who will stop at nothing to silence Edmund Kirsch. On a trail marked by modern art and enigmatic symbols, Langdon and Vidal uncover clues that ultimately bring them face to face with Kirsch's shocking discovery and the breathtaking truth that has long eluded us. Coming out October 3rd, 2017. Are you ready, Steve?
I'm ready.
Does it not sound good?
It sounds familiar.
Well, I don't think at this point he's going to diverge from the... I wonder how this will do. Because, I mean, as we discussed in episode 77, Inferno, the movie was terrible.
Yes.
Nobody saw it. In the book, I don't remember.
That's true, it did bomb.
Either. So, and it's definitely my least favorite of the book. So I don't know. Is the market still out there? You know? Because he writes like a Grisham or a Patterson, but it's like 5 years in between things. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how this will go. I'm definitely going to read it. Let me just put that out
me
there.
too, for sure.
I'm definitely going to read it. And, you know, probably most likely, Tom Hanks and Ron Howard get another vacation out of this.
I'd go watch that movie still.
What do you think, Eric? Do you think based on the numbers they would make another one?
Another
Langdon movie?
Langdon? I can't imagine it. I mean,
I wish they would just do The Lost Symbol. That was such a great book.
A
great movie.
I don't even think it's Inferno that was the last one, right?
Yes.
I don't think Inferno made that much money overseas either to really save it.
Well, it was bad. I mean, it was all around
Yeah,
it really
bad.
was bad.
But it was really like, I don't know, it felt slapped together. Like the marketing and the lead up
I
for
think
it. There's a lot of excitement around Angels and Demons, but not around Inferno.
I think it's just over.
Yeah.
Movie-wise.
Yeah.
I think people
Well,
cared
they
for
had a
like a
nice-
second and now they're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
It would have been nice if they had some sort of like finality to it, but it didn't. So
No.
Anyway,
Besides,
enough of this.
Ron Howard's too busy directing other people's movies now for Disney.
He's just gonna wait until. Did you hear this, Steve? Ron Howard's taking over Han Solo.
No, I did not.
Weird. I
Yeah,
still
it's
don't
crazy.
understand what he's thinking.
Yeah.
I love your Ron, but I don't get it. So that's Dan Brown.
Can you
coming
do
to
a
you
Ron
after-
Howard impression?
I don't think I can. I mean, maybe if I really tried. But
It'd
I'm not-
probably be more like
I'm
a
not going to.
Happy Days impression
Yeah,
than
probably.
like modern day.
Probably. Finally, large print fans, we got a new book, Looking Through Darkness.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because of...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Fine.
No, go again. No, go again.
No. Well,
Sorry, I was opening up web pages about
That's-
James Patterson, but go
that's
ahead.
all right.
No,
That's all right.
what was the title again?
Oh, the title? Sure. It's Looking Through Darkness. A trading post
Nice,
novel.
seamless.
Readers... Amy and David Thurlow. Oh, that's cute. Writing together. Readers seeking an uplifting yet classically suspenseful Native American love story. Are there a lot of people? That seems like a very niche market.
Yeah, but it's in large print.
Okay. Native American love story will soak up the soulful and spiritual heart of this book.
Nice. All right.
So,
You on
that's
board?
What you got? No, probably not. It's confusing because it is a romance, and it doesn't look like a Western, but it's very confusing. It basically looks like a YA novel from the 90s when you look at the cover. So I don't really
I feel like I
get-
just saw
Who
something
this
that
is.
was like a Western.
Good
Oh, no,
Lord.
I was watching somebody play a video
Was
game.
it Dragon Teeth?
No, yeah.
By Mikey Crichton. Did you read Dragon Teeth, Steve, by the way?
No, I did not yet.
Well,
Hmm.
what's wrong with you? Because Eric loved it. Not really.
I'll give it a shot.
I gave it a heartfelt...
You gave it a sentimental 3 stars.
yes, I gave it a sentimental...
I think it's
my
how we
my
would describe
review
it.
on my blog was basically at the end like, now we can just read all of his other
Yeah,
older
just-
books. We
yeah,
can go
read
back.
those other ones, but not this one. All right, let's talk New York Times bestsellers.
Okay, I gotta get...
We got to do nonfiction this week. We're taking a couple weeks off.
I can't. You can look it up on your computer, and I'll step out for a while.
Mhm.
I'm just glad some of those people can read.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on the New York Times bestsellers list
Inflammatory. All right.
for the young adult
Okay. All right,
hardcover,
sure. Young adult.
number 10, The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon.
True. It's a fact.
Yeah. Number
It's
9,
life.
Alex and Eliza by Melissa De La Cruz. You gonna read this?
No.
You're big into
You
history.
ask me that every single time, and the answer is
You
always
love
no.
history. You love romance.
Yeah.
You love hit Broadway musicals.
Yeah.
All right. Number 8. Oh, this is new this week. The Last Magician. by Lisa Maxwell. So after this, we're not getting any books about magicians. Fantasy is dead after this.
The very last
Yeah.
magician.
Anybody hoping for more Harry Potter after the Cursed Child? Can't happen.
No.
Unless you can still write books about magicians that were written about before the last magician. You can continue adventures.
Yeah. Well,
This will be the
Harry
last
Potter,
original.
There's going to be 5 or 6 more Fantastic Beasts, so
Hey.
don't have to worry about that.
Can't wait for all their scripts to...
Yeah, it's going to
Anyway.
be great. Steve, did you like the Fantastic Beasts movie?
I did not even see it.
Oh, good call.
That's
Good
what I
call.
thought.
For that and more, tune to episode 98, where we talk about Harry Potter.
I sure did.
Keep going, Pickles.
Number 7, Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare.
Yeah, an enigma.
Yeah. Number 6, This Is Where It Ends by Marie... Oh, boy. Kneecamp, I'm going to say.
Okay.
57 weeks on this list.
Pretty good.
Books on the young adult list stay here forever.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, timely. Number 5, Crazy House by James Patterson
Hey.
and Gabrielle
And
Charbonnet.
that's even a young adult. Is that part of a series, or is that just a...
Charbonnet.
Okay.
No, it's just a standalone. I don't know if he has any like young adult series out.
Maximum Ride, I guess.
Yeah, but I think that's done. As is the that witchcraft and wizardry series. Number 4, Once and for All by Sarah Dessen. Can the harder-hearted Lorna reform the more romantically casual Ambrose?
I guess that's the question.
Yeah, I think we've all had to ask, can we soften up Ambrose?
Yeah.
So-
Ambrose, what's going on in your life?
Number 3,
What's wrong with you?
Lord of Shadows. Yeah, hey, guess what? By Cassandra Clare.
Okay.
The character is caught between the fairy courts and the laws of the clave.
Look out.
I always say, follow the spirit of the clave.
Yeah, you do always say that.
Yeah. Number 2, One of Us is Lying, and it's Nick.
Prove it.
By Karen M. McManus.
You can't. That's what I thought.
Uh-oh. For 5 students, a detour in detention
Okay.
ends in murder.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
Detention's like murder sometimes,
Sure
am I right?
is, yeah.
Did you ever have a detention as a kid?
Yes.
Really?
Most definitely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was a bit of a smart mouth.
Oh,
Back
that's
in the
weird.
day.
Can't
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying to picture you
imagine it.
Yeah.
mouthing off to authority figures, and I just,
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Yep.
Boy.
It's hard to-
Number 1 on the week, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
A 16-year-old girl sees a police officer kill her friend, and she takes
Yikes.
matters into her own hands, developing a supersuit that is ahead of its time, and maybe...
You're making this up.
Yeah, I am
Okay.
making this up. But it
I
is
would
about
read
the...
that book, though.
Yeah, Steve was interested. He's writing it down.
Yeah, he's like, okay.
I was in
all
there.
Gotta
right.
find this book.
Yeah, of course. She took a tech class, so now she knows how to make
knows everything.
super suits.
She knows
All right, hardcover fiction. Anything fun below the number 10? No. Tom Clancy's all the way down to 15, though.
Oh, no.
So
Yeah.
Dean Koontz is down to 11. All right, number 10, new this week on the hardcover fiction.
Debuting at number 10.
Yeah.
Depending on who it is, it's either good or bad.
The Breakdown by B.A. Paris.
Pretty good, then.
In the psychological thriller, a woman is plagued by guilt over not having stopped to help a driver who turns out to have been murdered, and by fear of early onset dementia.
Whoa. That's a loaded book. That is loaded.
That dementia twist just kind of came out of nowhere.
Really did, yeah.
Hey, I stopped to save a bus from exploding.
Yeah.
Also, I lost my hand.
Wow. Wow.
So,
Wow. But you have early onset dementia, so I don't know if I can trust what you're saying.
number 9, The Duchess by Danielle Steele.
Danielle Steele, America's
hey,
sweetheart.
Steve.
America's
Next time you're
favorite
here, we're
storyteller.
doing a
Steve,
Danielle Steele
yeah.
spotlight.
Yeah, so,
Steve.
Steve, why don't you start reading Danielle Steele
Yeah,
books?
you should
Steve?
read The Duchess,
Read at
Steve.
least 10 Danielle Steele books, and then we're going to do a podcast spotlight.
I'm writing this down right now.
He's going to do it. Okay. All right. Just move on.
He was
Move on.
typing.
He was, yeah.
Number 8.
See, this is an audio medium, so your visual gags don't
Yeah.
translate.
Number 8, Use of Force by Brad Thor.
I'm Thor!
That's a bad impression of both Brad Thor and Thor.
You've never heard Brad Thor talk.
That's true.
That's
you're
exactly
right.
what he sounds like.
hate.
I just sit down and write books.
Me hate self-publishers.
Stop doing it.
Number 7, A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Tolls. You have to read this, man. It's been here forever. It's your type of book.
Okay.
Just do it.
All right.
Okay.
Get off my back.
I'm gonna read it before you.
Don't you dare.
Yeah,
Don't
and then
you
people are gonna be like,
dare.
"But that's the kind of book that Nick and you're what?"
I know every once in a while you go off the beaten path.
Yes, I read Exit West or The
surprising.
Girls or
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Yeah. Anything by Lauren Conrad, you just sit down and devour.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
pretty good.
Number 6, The Identicals by Ellen Hildebrand,
Mm-hmm.
still here. Number 5, guess who it is?
Who?
Murder Games by James Patterson and Howard Ruffin.
Oh no,
Yeah,
this is the worst kind of games to play.
yeah.
Wait, do you win by murdering or do you win by being murdered? You know what I'm saying?
You win by solving the murder.
Solving the murder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's kind of like war games. When
With
they...
Matthew Broderick.
No.
Would you like to play a game?
Number 4, Into the Water by Paula Hawkins.
Yeah, if I'm going into the water, the alcohol, I fuel the alcohol. Did you read Girl on the Train, Steve?
No, I intend to though.
Pretty good.
Number 3, House of Spies by Daniel
Silva. I don't know why that's so hard for you.
I don't know.
Daniel's a very common male name.
I know. Let's just call him Danny Silva for now on.
Okay.
Oh, but you can call Danielle Danny.
It's also, yeah.
And you can spell it Danny D-A-N-N-Y
Yeah.
or D-N-N or just D-N-I.
Well, you need an A in there as well. D-A-N-I.
What'd I say?
D-N-I.
Oh yeah, you don't want an E in
Yeah.
there.
No, you don't.
D-A-N-I.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
All right. Number 2, Camino Island by John Grisham. Who doesn't he have a new book coming out, Nick?
Yes, he does.
Describe it.
All right. On our advance notices, we got a listing from John Grisham coming out October 24th.
Oh, I can't wait to see the title.
Title: New Legal Thriller.
Nice. You know what?
Which
We're
is
laughing.
hilarious because that's how they spoof it in the B.J. Novak book.
Yeah.
Only it's the something. So essentially, that's what we've got here.
Won't we feel silly when it comes out and it's actually titled?
New Legal Thriller.
Yeah.
It will be silly.
no-
Steve, have you read Camino Island, by the way?
No, I don't think I
Very
have.
latest, Grish.
I think that's one I've missed out on.
The Whistler. Did you read The Whistler?
I was going to, but it didn't sound too impressive by anybody. So
You Grisham fans are fickle.
Barfler is more like it. Hey, sorry guys, that was the Barfler. All right, what's number 1?
Number 1 is new. Debuting. Michael Connolly.
Oh,
The Late Show.
Late Show, yeah.
Which is not probably about what you were hoping it would be about.
Letterman. It's about David Letterman, right? David Letterman solves crime. Elvis.
Renee Ballard, a young detective with the LAPD, investigates crimes against 2 women.
David Letterman.
Starring David Letterman.
Whoa! What a twist.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is another. We were talking about this a few weeks back. A lot of the old hands here are coming out with new series, new female-driven series actually. So interesting change.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Well, I think we all know what time it is, folks.
Yep. Time to say goodnight.
No.
Thank you for stopping by. We will see you next
No.
week where we talk about something fun and fancy-free.
Hey, you know what? I've got a bone to pick with a certain listener of ours, a man by the name of Ben Lehman.
Uh-huh.
Because I asked for an author spotlight theme song
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah.
I asked him to compose
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
for an author spotlight.
Uh-huh.
Not going to pay him.
Yeah.
Want him to do it on his own free time.
Uh-huh.
So far, nothing.
Yeah.
So we don't have an author spotlight theme, except for this one that Eric
Yeah.
and I are going to do right
Yep,
now.
here we go.
We're going to take a
It's
spotlight on an
spotlight
author. We're
time.
gonna
What
look at an
author are we
And this week
spotlighting?
we're talking
Let's
about
look.
James Patterson. So you recorded that?
Yeah.
So we can play it
Yeah.
again?
Yeah.
Should we maybe run through it one more time just to make sure we got it right?
Yeah.
Steve, if you want to jump in here, please feel
Yeah,
free.
okay.
Ready? Go.
Same ones, okay.
Exactly the same.
Yes.
Spotlight.
It's the spotlight time.
an
And we're
author.
going to look at the
We're
spotlight
gonna spotlight
times.
on
Here we
an
go.
author.
and go.
Did that go off? Yeah. Did that sound the same both times to you, Steve? As an impartial outside.
Yeah.
Okay, Steve says yes.
I don't think we actually have enough time to cover all the authors that work with James
No, we
Patterson.
don't.
This is going to be a very incomplete spotlight.
Yeah, it is.
There's
It
no
is. Yep.
there's no way we have the time.
Yep.
All right, now we're going to talk about Maxine Pietro.
Yep.
It's been 5 hours.
I will not do a Maxine Pietro
No,
spotlight.
I'm out. I will go
Hey,
out that window.
James Patterson's website looks a lot like a Walmart website.
Yes, James Patterson's website does look like a Walmart. And the thing about it, too, is that this is the same website you go to for any of his books. So if you're a kid who's super into Treasure Islands, the first thing you're gonna go up to is I guess it's Murder Games, which isn't so bad. Yep. Until you start going, 16 Seduction, huh?
Yeah. Well,
not that I'm saying kids can't read the 16th Seduction. I'm not telling you how to parent your kids.
You probably want to caution against
15 months ago,
All
Detective.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me give you a little. Let me give you a little background on James Patterson for the most trusted source on the internet. Wikipedia. James Brendan Patterson, born
I have some
March
fun facts about him,
1947, is an American author and philanthropist. Among his works are The Alex Cross, Michael Bennett, Women's Murder Club, Maximum Ride, Daniel X, NYPD Red, Witch and Wizard, and Private series, as well as many standalone thrillers, nonfiction, romance novels. His books have sold more than 300 million copies, and he was the first person to sell 1 million ebooks. In 2016, Patterson topped Forbes' list of highest paid authors for the third consecutive year with an income of...
I have 89 million in 12 months.
95 million as of August 2016. His total
yours
income
is
over a
updated.
decade is estimated at $700 million.
Oh, really? Because I see his net worth at $750 million.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, look, here's what we... I know we're going to argue about a lot of things today, but what we can't argue with is success. The man has got it.
Yeah.
He's found it. He's holding on tight.
Yeah. He's got $750 million.
Right. Let's put all our cards on the table.
Now, when I hear that number, I get angry. I get angry because I will never have $1 million.
Come on now.
He has 750 times more than money I'll never see.
You don't know that.
You think I'm going to have $1 million someday?
You could fall down the stairs in a rich corporate headquarters and maybe get that kind of
because they didn't build an elevator?
A lot of things you could do. Yeah. Tell me.
I'm angry.
Let's just okay. So, Eric.
Yeah.
Doesn't like James Patterson.
I've only read 2 of his books
but
ever.
You're not a fan of the James Patterson enterprise.
Well, I guess it's stupid to say that because obviously he does lots of good.
Yeah.
He uses his money to give back to the community and to reading.
Yeah.
And to
multi-millions of dollars a year does he give away to scholarships and teachers, independent bookstores, students. He's very generous.
Programs to get kids to read. So it's hard to be like, you jerk.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Stephen King doesn't like his books.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's definitely true.
Is Stephen King known as being a nice guy?
I don't know.
Does he give... I know he's pretty salty on Twitter.
I think he does. Yeah, he is salty on Twitter. That's true. Steve, what about you? Bottom line on James Patterson.
Readable, but not one of my favorites.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think, Eric, you kind of you summed this up very well a couple episodes ago, like just off the cuff when we were talking about
I sure did.
Jimmy P. But you said the thing with James Patterson, and part of the reason behind his success is that you know what you're going to get. You know? And so I find that very comforting.
We're just going to ignore the fact I called him the Little Caesars of literature world.
We are going to ignore
that.
That's an excellent analogy, though.
Thank you.
I got to say that, like, for as much fun as we poke at James Patterson, I enjoy a lot of the books.
Okay.
I'm never going to say that they're, like, excellent, like, great written books, or that they're, like, this, like, high benchmark in literature, but they also don't try to be.
Right.
You know, I think you got to give him credit for the fact that he's incredibly transparent about his process, the way he works with these co-authors. It's not buried. It's not really even little font. I mean, a lot of these books, it's pretty big, like co-billing. So I think he's generous with the credit and would never be like, no, I do all the work. So, you know, I think that's all very much out there. So
he's Fox. He's Fox TV.
Okay.
Whereas, like, you might say, like, Stephen King would be like HBO.
Yeah.
James Patterson's just Fox.
Fox.
You know what you're getting on Fox.
Yeah, you do.
It's silly.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be the best thing on TV.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
So if you like the Fox Network and Little Caesars Pizza,
yes.
pick up James Patterson in a bookstore near you.
I feel like I enjoy his books, but I typically feel like the rug's pulled out from underneath me at the endings most of the time.
Unsatisfying endings.
Yes, which just kind of ruins the whole book for me. So even if I enjoyed it all the way through, at least it's a bitter taste in my mouth sometimes.
Yeah, I often like to read a James Patterson book almost as a palate cleanser. You know, like if I've had to read a lot of really heavy stuff and I just need to read something fun and breezy that'll take me a couple of days. Or if I'm like stressed and feel like I don't have time for anything, I don't want a big, like, heavy, meaty book, I might reach for a James Patterson there. So they definitely have their place, I would say.
Though, I feel like sometimes they're unnecessarily, like, bleak in certain aspects. It just, like, there's just parts they throw in that have nothing to do with the story that just make you feel bad.
Huh.
Like, someone will die that didn't need to die, has nothing to do with the story, it's just someone you liked and they killed just, for the heck of it.
I don't know. I guess I just see that as, like, the genre, the adult thriller genre.
I've noticed it. Maybe it's just me, but I get that impression.
You think he's darker than, like, I don't know, like a Michael Connelly?
It's not that it's darker, it's just that it's something that has nothing to do with the story. It's a character you enjoy,
you feel more sad.
And they die for no reason, or it's a subplot that has nothing to do with the overall, mesh of the story, but someone dies or something horrible happens that has nothing to do for anybody.
Well, let's talk for a minute about the first time we came across James Patterson. I know for me, I was aware of James Patterson for probably like a decade before I ever actually like read a James Patterson. And I was working at Willard Library in Battle Creek. I think that was around the time he was doing the Alex Cross, like all the nursery rhyme things. I remember Violets Are Blue coming across, which was like a kind of a vampire-y Alex Cross book. Very strange. But that's the one that I remember first, and then it was just constantly on the bestseller list. Each time they'd come through, it was like, what's the new James Patterson? So I've had to sort of be aware of James Patterson's output for, 15 years now, really. But it wasn't until 2012 that I actually like picked up a James Patterson and started reading it. And the first one that I read, I think, was just the very first Alex Cross. Let me take a look at Goodreads here. Yeah. September of 2012, I picked up Along Came a Spider. I don't know why. I don't know what made me do it at that point. But that's when I started reading it. And I actually read the first 4 Alex Cross books kind of in rapid succession, which I don't usually do. I don't usually stick with the series back to back to back, but I find the first one's very engaging. So that was me. I've known about it for a long time, started reading Alex Cross pretty quickly. What about you, Eric?
I started working in a Jacksonville public library, Jacksonville, Florida, in 2015, and like my first week was when Mistress came out, and that was the first time it was like, oh, why do we have 20 of these copies? And because the way the library does it there, we also had copies that couldn't be renewed and you could only have for 7 days. Yeah. All James Patterson books were always listed as the express books, where you could only have them for 7 days and you couldn't renew them.
Okay.
And you couldn't request them from other libraries, and you had a certain amount. But it was just all the time. I was like, oh. And then I started seeing them come in and more.
Okay.
And it was just like,
and then
I started noticing all the co-authors.
Right.
And I was like, is this guy?
How about in your time here, like in youth services? What's your experience been with like?
Puts out a lot of kids stuff.
Yeah.
But also, I think in the YA or the kids section, you're seeing more of his James Patterson Presents.
Okay.
Than maybe in the adult section.
Yeah, like the Jack the Ripper one always comes.
Yeah, the Jack the Ripper one. But there's also this new one called How to Be a Supervillain by Michael Fry, and it's just James Patterson Presents. And there's been a few others that are just like, produced by James Patterson now.
Well, that's like the Bookshot Flames are essentially just James Patterson Presents. He's not listed as an author. It's James Patterson's Bookshot Flames, and then it lists the author.
That's good.
So those are essentially
his
presents.
website has in stores now 18 titles.
Wow.
That's somehow
insane.
Associated with James
insane.
Patterson.
And the first one that you actually picked up to read was
Treasure
Hunters.
Hunted.
Yeah.
Hunted.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve?
First one I read was Along Came a Spider as well.
Why?
I think you recommended it to me, actually.
Okay.
And I wanted to start not in the beginning of the Alex Cross series. I wanted to just jump right in from the beginning.
Yeah. So did you read that before we started talking about doing a podcast on Patterson, or was that?
Yes, that was the only one I had read just because I felt like reading it.
Okay. Did you start to read Kiss the Girls?
I finished Kiss the Girls.
Okay.
I did not enjoy it.
Kiss the Girls is it's a serial rapist.
It's unsettling.
And it is, yeah, I almost stopped reading it at that point. I think that's actually why I read book 3 so quickly, was because I found book 2 so disturbing and I wanted to like push past it.
Because I had that same kind of deal when I tried to read A Time to Kill, first time by John Grisham.
Yes.
But I didn't finish it, and a couple years later I finished it.
That is a brutal,
I was glad I
start.
did, though.
Absolutely.
Kiss the Girls, I felt like I wish I just stopped and I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
Because, it makes sense in the arc of the whole story and Time to Kill, but Kiss the Girls, it just felt like a rehash, kind of, of Along Came a Spider. but just for
Yeah.
sensationalism.
Yeah. Now, how aware were you of James Patterson before that?
I mean,
was he?
I never read any of his things, but obviously you see his books on every shelf everywhere.
Yeah, every thrift
forever.
store in America
Yes.
has 6 to 10
But
different.
I never really knew anything about him. I knew he had the Alex Cross series, and I kind of knew the basis of that character, but I didn't know much about him.
Okay, well
other than
so how many Cross books have you read?
2.
Okay, and Eric, you haven't read Alex Cross at all.
No, nor have I seen either of the movies.
Okay, so I was going to ask. So there's 3 movies. There's Along Came a Spider and Kiss the Girls, which is Morgan Freeman as Alex Cross, and then there's just Alex Cross.
I think they're drastically different than the books.
I think they are too. I haven't seen them. And then there's just one called Alex Cross, which came out a few years ago with Tyler Perry as Alex
Medea.
Cross, not as Medea. But Alex does live with his grandma, and I thought, is Tyler Perry going to play the grandma as well? Because it seems like a no-brainer.
That movie would have killed.
It would have, yeah. It would have done much better than the Alex Cross movie did. I don't think there is any talk of
There's
a
the
sequel.
thing. He has a new Medea movie coming out, but not an Alex Cross 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
looks
think
like you guys
that
dropped
pretty
the
much
ball.
says it. Well, okay, so I've read. Let me jump back here again and see how many of these Alex Cross I've actually read. 9. I've read 9 Alex Cross. 10. 10 Alex Cross books so far, and the series is ongoing. It's up to probably book 23 or 24 if you count the book shots. So Alex Cross is the one that remains solely James Patterson. There's no co-authors on Alex Cross. There's been a couple of offshoots, like Alex Cross's Trial, which has David Ellis as a co-author. But that's not really about Alex Cross. It's about a book. It's about Alex Cross's relatives. Anyway, Alex Cross, the character, is a medical doctor, studied at Johns Hopkins, and is a detective in Washington, D.C. And he's a widower, lives with his children and his grandmother, who sort of helps raise the children. He's got a partner who's a childhood friend. And I find the character of Alex Cross to be a very well-created, kind of a fascinating character. Just the psychological aspects of his character, balancing like his home life and his very dangerous job. I think that's actually very well done. And I know my issue with the last couple of books that I've read, London Bridges being one, where I just wanted more Alex Cross living his life and cared a little less about like the murderer of the book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't.
Killers are very similar.
They are. Yes,
Notice
they
that.
are.
They're not really one-dimensional,
Yes,
but they just
are.
follow the same set of like
Yeah.
psychiatric problems.
Yeah, pretty much. And often they have a vendetta against Alex Cross, or that comes
Yeah.
up pretty quick, that it ends up being Cross personally
Yeah.
against this character. So I don't think they get too much into the Alex Cross character in the first 2 books.
No, not really.
Do
They
you?
just,
Okay.
They kind of outline his like being a widower, and
Okay.
his kids, and that
Yeah.
kind of thing, but not really anything else.
Because his personal life really, in some books, it takes center stage, really. And other
almost rather
times
read
it's
one of
kind
those,
of
I
pushed
think.
down. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay, killer, blah, 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 blah. Let's talk about how Alex Cross is living his life. So I actually really enjoyed those. I see here that the last couple ones that I've read haven't enjoyed as much. But that to me is still, the standout James Patterson series. I know a lot of people like the Michael Bennett books. Have you read those, Steve?
I was starting a book shot with Michael Bennett, I think.
Okay.
But
Michael Bennett is a cop, and he has like 10 children, and is also a widower. So a lot of that is. It always sounds to me like it's if Captain Von Trapp were a police detective.
do we know that he wasn't?
Yeah, I guess he could be. I've only read one Michael Bennett book. It was Step on a Crack, and I read this as a book shot, and I couldn't understand why it was a book shot, and then later realized that it was abridged, and I was so angry because they took the book Step on a Crack and then abridged it to be a book shot, and so I was so mad when I finished it because I thought, oh, maybe I'll read this series, and then I started the first book, the one that you need all the character background info on, and I read it abridged, so I'm pretty mad about that. What are some of the other juvenile series, Eric?
All right, so in his juvenile series, you have the middle school series, which got a movie recently.
Oh, yeah.
But it does not check out like Dork Diaries and Wimpy Kid.
Okay.
They do check out, but not. We can't keep our Wimpy Kid
Yeah.
and Dork Diaries on the shelf, or the Diary of Minecraft Zombies.
Yeah, and
Big Nate.
one copy's not enough either.
Yeah,
You have
Big
to have
Nate
multiples.
is also more popular.
Uh-huh.
than these books.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe just because kids already like those other ones, those other characters.
I thought well, let's not get into Treasure Hunters just yet. I'll save that for a minute.
He has the iFunny series, which is popular.
Oh, okay.
We have the Treasure Hunter series, House of Robots. He has a standalone called Public School Superhero, Jackie Haha, Word of Mouse, and Potty Mouth and Stupid.
Wow. And now, would you say the ones that are like Maximum Ride and Daniel X, would you put those more as like YA?
Those are kept in the young adults.
Those are a little older. Okay.
Maximum Ride, the books have been kind of like dead in the water in terms of popularity for a while, but the manga has just suddenly like everybody's got to have it again. I don't know what happened, but
now is Maximum Ride done? Like 2015 was the last published book, so
yeah.
But looks like the publication has been...
The manga is continuing, but
okay.
It's very slow. The next one won't come out until 2018.
All right, so the manga's popular, but none of the other YA
I don't see him yet, or his Witch series. So even his like Stalking Jack the Ripper was popular, but that's not him.
Presents, right.
So do you want to... We've got coming releases on his site. You want to see how many books he has planned?
Sure, just give me a number.
All right. Women's Murder Club, The Medical Examiner. The Dolls, Love Me Tender. The Store, Laughing Out Loud. Big Words for Little Geniuses, Dead Man Running. Michael Bennett Haunted. Hunting Prince Dracula. The Candy Save Christmas. Expelled. Private Count to 10. The People vs. Alex Cross. Jackie Haha, My Life is a Joke. And that's just until the end of 2017.
Oh, my gosh.
He's already got NYPD Red 5 planned for March.
Ooh. I am excited about that.
And a book called The President is Missing.
Yeah, with Bill Clinton.
Oh, that's right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So,
come on, Spielberg.
I want to jump around here for a minute. First, let me ask: has anybody seen any of the James Patterson media adaptations?
No.
So, like Women's Murder Club or the Middle School movie.
No.
Or
we showed the Middle School movie.
I know
here.
You didn't watch it when we did it.
No, I did not.
What else is there? There's the Alex Cross movies, which we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Not a ton, I guess. There's not really a ton. So no, we haven't seen any of those. Interesting.
No, correct.
Okay. All right. Also, let's talk about NYPD Red. NYPD Red is co-written with Marshall Karp, and I actually like those quite a bit. That's the only one we've ever had in the book club, and the whole book club hated it. But I think they're pretty good as bubblegum quick reads. They're really not. It's just about a special task force within the NYPD that handles high profile and celebrity crimes, basically. You've read one?
I read the first one, yes.
Did you like it?
I did like it, yeah. I think.
Would you feel compelled to read book 2?
Possibly.
That was one that I saw it when it came out, and I wanted to read it, and I didn't, and kept seeing it. Oh, I got to read that book. And then it came out in paperback, and I just picked it up.
That'd be the kind of book I'd take on a trip,
on
a bus or a train.
Exactly.
It's fun to read, and you're not really invested too much, but it's still fun.
So that's the only series that I'm up to date with and actually follow. Look and see when the next one's coming out. And I do enjoy those, but they are very you got to know what you're getting into. It's going to be a simple. It's never going to go too deep. It's splashy. It's kind of high octane crimes. They tend to be. So I like that. Are you compelled to read any more? Do you think I want to read NYPD Red 2? Or are you pretty much done?
I think I'm pretty much done, but I might fall back on that someday.
Okay, so you don't.
For let's say now.
So outside of research for this podcast, you don't see yourself dipping back into the James Patterson pool.
No, I don't.
Interesting. Okay, I would. I'm going to continue reading Alex Cross for at least for a while until I get sick of it. And occasionally, I read Murder House when it came out a while back, and I liked that. Occasionally they look interesting to me. I don't see myself jumping into another big series. I doubt very much that I would read Michael Bennett. I enjoyed the first one that I read, but I don't know that I would pick it up again. Women's Murder Club, I read 14th Deadly Sin and did not like it.
Yeah.
Well, now you've read several Women's Murder Club.
I've read 1 through 7.
Wow. Wowzer. Okay.
They're the same thing, though. They're easy enough to read.
Yeah.
And just you feel a little bit let down at the end.
So how do you feel about the series?
I'm kind of conflicted because I like the second and third book a lot, really. But
those are co-written by Andrew Gross.
Andrew Gross, yes.
Who used this James Patterson fame to springboard into a pretty successful.
I would read his book.
Yeah,
I would read his books.
They are. He's one that's on our standing order, because he's very popular. So
But after that, he switched to Maxine Pietro.
Maxine Pietro.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, every book that I've read that's co-authored by Maxine Pietro, I can't stand. But she's one of his go-to writers,
Noticed
so
that.
they must have a good thing going. But yeah, once she takes over in book 4 and continues to write them.
And they're very similar after that. They seem to be almost like short stories.
That makes sense.
Supposed to intertwine, but they don't quite.
That seems to be, Eric, wouldn't you say Women's Murder Club probably our most popular Patterson series for adults?
I wouldn't know.
Oh, all right. Well, whenever I'm working the desk, if I'm checking out a James Patterson, it's more than likely a Women's Murder Club. You haven't found that?
No.
You just haven't seen them enough?
I do.
Okay.
We work in different sections.
No, I know we do.
You
It
work
just
in the
seems
adult section. I work in the garage.
Yeah. Eric's our mechanic.
Yeah.
I just read the one. I picked up 14 randomly. My wife tried to read The Trial, which is the only Women's Murder Club book shot. Couldn't do it. Put it right back down.
Yeah.
He's got a new series, Harriet Blue, and she really liked the first of that series called Black and Blue, which it starts as a book shot and then moves into a regular standard series. Before we move on from Pietro altogether, let's talk Private for a minute. So I've read the first Private book.
Can we just keep that between us?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That's best. I read the first Private book, which is just called Private, and it's about basically like a private detective series. Steve, have you read these?
I read one of the book shots.
Did you read Private Olympics 2016?
Oh, that whole Rio. Yeah, that very confusing one that changed the title. And any thoughts on it?
I liked it fine. It was the, let's see, which one was it called?
Private India.
It was Royal Crown, something like that. It was.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the exact name of it.
There's so many.
Private Paris.
I don't
Private
remember.
London.
Well, I'll tell you what's cool
didn't hear it,
about that is that Private India was released in India and was only available there for a long time. Same with Berlin, and the ones that are in specific places are usually initially published only in that location, and then later they get brought over for the American crowd. And my sister-in-law used to read James Patterson, is a huge Bollywood fan, so I got her Private India to read. She was not a fan of Private India. So I'm not really a huge the Private. Oh, the Royals.
The Royals.
Steve read the Royals. Okay, a book shot.
I'll never read Royals.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Private series does nothing for me, so I'll never ever read that again.
Okay.
All right, let's pop back over to Juvenile then for a minute. One of the
You know
ones
what we forgot to do?
What?
Ask anybody what they think about James Patterson.
I thought about it and I didn't want.
To be fair, it seems like whenever you talk to somebody, even checking out James Patterson, even people who are going to be reading 3 James Patterson books, they still think he puts out too many books.
Yeah, they're critical of it.
And they think he has too many co-authors.
Yeah.
But they still check out
They do.
every single
They
book.
absolutely do,
So
yeah.
it seems like it's almost this love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
With, I can't get out.
Yeah, well, okay, before we move on to Treasure Hunters, I will say the ones that I've read in Treasure Hunters is probably Treasure Hunters and Hunted, actually, both are exceptions to this rule. But the ones that I've read, NYPD Read, even Private, still feel like a James Patterson book to me. Because I started strictly reading Alex Cross, which is just James Patterson. Right. And when I read some of these ones, Murder House, whatever it is, they still feel the same. They feel like, yes, this is a James Patterson book. So whatever he's doing, they do come across his uniform.
Do you find that's consistent with that co-author? Certain co-authors have less to do with the books than the other ones?
I don't know. I all I know is that when I switched from just reading Alex Cross to trying something like an NYPD Read, it wasn't a jarring change from now I'm totally reading a different author. It's still the pacing, the short chapters, they kind of every other chapter is a cliffhanger format remains true, I think, across co-authors, which is interesting. And that says to me that whatever level of involvement he has, there still is an eye to consistency across the board, which, is cool. And I think that's why people who are James Patterson fans can put up with a lot of the co-authors, because they do feel the same.
Yes.
So I think that's something. Okay. That's something for it. A book that we've all read, Treasure Hunters. So let's talk about Treasure Hunters for a minute. Eric, give me a little background on that series. How many do we got?
There's 4. Treasure Hunters, Danger Down the Nile, Secrets of the Forbidden City, and Peril at the Top of the World. And I will never read any of those.
Okay. All right, and now you haven't found these to be popular.
They do okay.
Okay, because they look cool.
I've brought them to kids at schools, and they're like, "Oh, treasure hunters," but I mean, there's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
Also, they're 500 pages. I don't understand this trend lately in juvenile books, like not young adult, but like the younger age, to like just make them 500 pages. I don't know.
And a lot of it's formatting. It's big print. It's small margins.
Like
a lot of
I was reading
illustrations.
Treasure Hunters, and I'm like halfway done with it, and thinking like, how much more do I have?
Yeah.
And it's just not. It starts off like exciting enough, and then it's just like, it's all just filler.
Yeah.
Everything just feels like filler.
Yeah. I listened to a lot of that on audiobook, and the audiobook was like 5 hours long, which is crazy for a 500-page book. I mean, that would be like, 15 hours long.
Right.
So like clearly it's still a very short book, but working in the juvenile section when I'm over there and I see the Treasure Hunters book out there, they were ones that I always like, I should read that sometime. They do appeal to me. I think they look cool.
But then when you read it, you realize it's very archaic. Even though it seems like it's trying to match a lot of trends.
Yeah.
With like the flippantness of the narrator.
Yeah.
And the style of it has that like dork diary kind of style.
Yeah.
But like it reads like it was written in the 60s.
Yeah.
It reads like a boxcar children's book.
I wish it read like a Boxcar Children book.
You're going to hate this, but I kind of got a sense of like the Baudelaire children kind of thing sometimes.
No,
Yeah.
I see that because they start off as like orphans and there's all this legal stuff.
Yeah. Tune into our Lemony Snicket podcast,
Yeah.
also featuring Steve.
Yeah, follow the link below.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I probably would have liked this as a kid, but when I was a kid, also like the way like the book industry has boomed for like youth reading wasn't the same.
Yeah.
So I probably would have liked this because there wasn't other options like this. But now, if you're looking for like a fantasy fix or like an adventure fix in kids, but like you have choices everywhere.
Well,
so,
I thought this was going to be kind of an adventure book, but there was very little adventure.
Yeah.
It was a lot of just like conversations and calling their sisters fat and and
the tirades.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we have all 4 of these, 2 copies of the first one, and they're on our shelves right now, and they do not check out that often. So, I don't know. Maybe the length is an issue. Maybe people have read them and said they're dull. I don't know. Books that he's written that are in his kids sections that have checked out. Jackie Haha and the iFunny series are very popular. House of Robots, there's only 3. They do okay, but for some reason Jackie Haha and the iFunny ones do well, which is good because Jackie Haha is getting a sequel.
Yeah. Now, I don't think that I would have liked Treasure Hunters as a kid.
Okay.
Do you, Steve? Do you think
I think I would have, yeah.
You really? Okay.
I actually like the in the story, one of there's twins, and one of them's the writer, one of them's an artist, and they act like it's like a fourth wall breaking kind of thing.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, where one of them's drawing the illustrations and one's telling the actual story, like the narrator.
Right.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was unique anyway. I mean, you don't see that much.
I at least would have read the first one as a kid.
Yeah.
Because of like the cover and the idea. I was like, oh, this could be fun.
I know what you mean though about saying it felt dated. There was some like pop culture references in there that I was like, I don't think any kids
even with
know
like
that,
take out the technology and it reads like just like the adventure series of like the 60s.
Yeah.
So
I think the fourth wall breaking is what makes that so it's not quite true. Like that is modern, although I don't think it was done particularly well. That's there. Let me tell you, maybe Steve, maybe you've come across this, and actually there is some in Hunted too, so you might remember this, Eric. But I don't like the use of real life products like all the time. Have you noticed that in James Patterson books?
I've seen it. It doesn't really bother me all that much.
I don't know. Something about it just seems so like cheap. And I doubt he's getting money for it. Like, I think he's just using real life products so you can relate to them, but I don't like it. Like Hunted, they kept talking about eating at McDonald's. Do you remember that? It happened. It definitely happened.
Okay.
Because it always stands out to me. But that doesn't bother you when you read that?
No, not really.
Books? Okay.
Yeah.
No. All right. Just me. All right. Fine.
All right.
Let's talk book shots for a minute. We've devoted a lot of time to book shots here on all the books, so I'm sure our listeners are well aware of what these are. But just in case you're not, they're about 100, 150 pages. The goal is that you should be able to read them on the commuter train basically in one setting, take you an hour and a half to read it. They're novellas. Essentially, they're novellas.
Yes.
With a more masculine name.
Sure.
Bookshot.
Yeah, you don't want a word that ends in A to get guys to read.
They went really hot and heavy on these for a while.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And then we would see on our notices, we'd get a notice that a book was coming out, and then we'd get a cancellation notice. Yes. So they really slimmed back to how many were coming out. But I find they are popular here. I don't know if you've noticed that when you're on the desk, but they do check out.
But I think maybe, I mean, they do obviously on the New York Times bestsellers list, but I think people who come to the library don't buy James Patterson. I don't think if you like James Patterson, you're not buying his books.
Well, it does seem to me that the selling model for these has not been great.
Right. Like,
anywhere you go, you see like buckets and buckets of bookshots, that people
like. I mean, I guess I can't really think, but like, obviously people buy Grisham.
Yeah.
But I'm always surprised to see James Patterson on the best-selling list, but I imagine many of those people just don't go to the library.
That's it. I think that's it, exactly.
And like you said, he sold 1 million on ebooks, so it's also probably just a lot of people downloading it.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if there's more that come out that are only ebooks, because there's been a couple that I just didn't notice at all. Like, I feel like I hadn't seen them in print, and then I see them as ebook options. So I don't know if they're going that route. I think the success of these was not what they were hoping for, because they did scale back significantly.
Well, if they all read like Hunted, they don't deserve success.
So Hunted is my third bookshot. I read that stupid abridged Michael Bennett one. I read one called Let's Play Together or Playtime or whatever.
Hunted was pathetic.
Okay.
Because it's 140 pages.
This is a standalone bookshot.
Yes, it's 140 pages. It's playing on the theme of the most dangerous game.
Yep.
And it takes 120 pages to get to the point of the book.
Yeah.
And then it just wraps it all up in 20. And it just, you read something like The Most Dangerous Game, which is also like a short story. So it's even shorter than your bookshot, James Patterson. And it like hits the ground running.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think the book takes place on the boat where he's shipwrecked from.
Yeah.
It just ends up on the beach, if I remember it right. But it's been a few years since I read it. And it's just kind of like, when you take a concept that's been done and then you do it so spectacularly worse, it's just annoying to me. And also, the first 120 pages that are the build-up to the big climax of this are so dull.
Yeah.
It's all just exposition and spying, and I'm like, who is so starved for activity, entertainment?
Yeah.
On their train rides that they're going to turn to Hunted, and that's going to satisfy any, like, how is that going to get somebody away from their phone?
Yeah, I think that was a pretty bad choice, like for that to be the bookshot that we all read to discuss, because it was very weak. What did you think, Steve?
Very middling opinion on it. It was okay, but I didn't really get anything out of it.
This has long been my theory on bookshots, and this one really is a good example of it. But I feel like part of when you read about what his process is, it's often that he'll provide, say, a 50-page outline, and then the authors will go and expand it and make it a whole big thing. But I sort of feel like maybe sometimes it's
there was no way there was a 50-page outline
probably
for
not.
Hunted.
But I think maybe they take a premise and they sort of like either develop it as a novel or they develop it as a bookshot. And I feel like this one might have been one that was in contention to be a novel, and they were like, "Nah, let's just."
But there was nothing in it. It was so empty.
But I think that's the problem. Like there wasn't time in the bookshot to really like go into the characters, and because the main guy, Shelley, you have going kind of trying to avenge a friend and trying to figure out what happened to this friend. And so I think there's a lot of meat in there that you could have explored. And then the big like Hunger Games-esque ending where it's a big, fight, that could have been a really drawn out action scene. I think this one was one that was like, let's be a novel.
It read very amateur. I thought
it did.
It looked, and I'm not saying like just if you're like a self-publisher or you're a smaller author but this just read like, I don't know.
It was paint by numbers. It just was easy.
It read juvenile. It just.
I also kind of didn't get the ending.
Yeah.
Did you? I didn't even. It was kind of an ambiguous
it didn't
end.
make sense, really.
I didn't really understand what they were going
I think
for.
they take the responsible ending.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
So I don't. Yeah, it's just kind of a crapshoot with these books.
Okay.
You know, and I think some people are really into them, and some people understand what they are, and some people just don't get it.
Other
don't have time
options
for it.
if that's what if you're looking for
But not so easy. That's the thing. It's like, yes, there are great short stories and there are great novellas, but novellas don't get this kind of attention. You know, the only famous,
I guess,
novellas that are being put out are these.
I guess for somebody, I don't know. I don't get it. Because like we've talked about how he does programs to get people to read, and it seems like that's also something that's close to him. But like, I feel like you have to compete with somebody's phone to get them to read during that short amount of time that a bookshot is playing. I don't see how...
I think he's expecting them to read these on their phones.
But I guess I just don't see how that's going to get anyone's attention, because what I read was really bad and not exciting. And like, if somebody was like, your choice is bookshots or your phone, I'm just going to turn my phone on every time. It seems like if your goal is to get people to read and you're doing this bookshot things, then you want to do good bookshots.
Yeah.
You want to do good short stories. And like this, like, oh, this wasn't going to be a good novel, so we'll just use it as a throwaway idea for bookshots. Like, I don't know, then just don't do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right.
More? I don't know.
I was the conference I was at recently. One of the people in the audience asked Scott Turow what he thought about the James Patterson phenomena, and I thought he had a really good answer. You know, he said like it wasn't really for him, like he wouldn't enjoy turning something over or working with a co-author. He didn't think like for him it was a good fit, but he also said like he doesn't think it's fair to like judge people based on what they read, and if something like a bookshot or a quick read James Patterson is going to get people reading, then maybe that can lead to them reading something a little more challenging and kind of work their way up. So he was kind of looking at it as an entry point to reading adult books, and I think there's merit to that. Yeah.
Yes. But I feel like quality's going to eventually count for something.
Yeah,
like
I do
you can
too.
put out 100 of these, but if they're all bad, then it doesn't matter if people are still interested.
It hasn't seemed to damage the brand so far, which is amazing. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you enjoy bookshots, then keep reading bookshots. I'm glad you're just reading. Is the general answer.
I could have sort of come down on that too. It's like if that's you know, I mean, it's all you want to do right now. That's
it's the
fine,
same thing as adults who only want to read young adult. It's like that's fine. Just read what you want. I just Hunted just made me mad.
Yeah, I agree.
Guess.
Yeah, it was bad.
But also, The Most Dangerous Game is one of my favorite stories of all time.
Yeah.
So, still have the perfect ideas.
Yep.
Sean Connery and Will Smith in that movie, but it'll never happen now because one's retired and one has stopped rapping.
Yeah.
And him being cast in The Most Dangerous Game was contingent on him doing a rap called "I Am the Most Dangerous Game."
Yep.
So it's fallen apart.
Yep.
I don't know who could do. I guess at this point, Will Smith is maybe old enough to play the hunter now.
Maybe.
Yeah, and he could still do that rap if he's willing.
He could.
I don't know who he's gonna hunt though. I gotta recast this whole movie.
What concerns me, I guess, about this Patterson phenomena is just I don't want it to become the norm. You know, I don't want every author to start doing this. And when I see like Stuart Woods is starting to have co-authors, and you know, someone like Clive Cussler's had them forever. Yeah,
but when you say someone like Stuart Woods or Clive, like these are older authors who've been doing it forever.
Yeah,
I think that's when you have to like work. They start doing it. They just get older, and it's harder to just put them out as much.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
and I mean, I hope if suddenly like the Brad Thors and the the younger authors. Yeah, like if John Green starts putting out co-authors.
Right.
Like, well, how old are you?
Yeah. Yeah, and it could. That's the thing. Like, it could happen if this is a model for success. If people are seeing, you know, millions and millions of dollars of revenue generated by this, I'm sure right now publishers are thinking like, who else can we get to do this? Because, you know, it's a cash cow.
Yeah.
So I don't want to see that as a trend.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with having light, fluffy options, but I don't want it to become the thing that people always
I can't
reach
imagine though. I mean, we're talking books here, so you know. The glass ceiling for like money for like all this co-op, like it's not like it's $1 billion, like, co-authors, that will put us into the $1 billion. And then suddenly, like, people are just going to stop reading books.
Yeah.
Like, plus, I mean, eventually people get sick of it and then start hopefully craving then single.
And, you could see more of the Andrew Gross, output where it starts. Like, this is a leg up for new authors, so it could be. Did Siri just try to search for Andrew Gross?
I think she looked for D&D under Gross.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. Anyway, it could be that it's going to be a springboard for new, like, thriller and mystery authors that are going to come forward and do that.
Yes.
But, I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway,
well, we gotta
guess,
go on.
Bottom line. I could see sticking with Alex Cross for a little while and occasionally picking up a fluffy James Patterson book that looks like it could be a fun, quick read. I don't think either of you are going to go down that path.
No.
I could be persuaded to read NYPD Red 2 one day.
Okay.
But I'm going to take a break.
Yes, I think that's fair. That's fair.
We got to end this. We got to wrap this up.
All right. Well,
we got NYPD wrap this up.
That was terrible.
No,
really?
That was
NYPD
End. Maybe would have worked. It sounds a little
that will be the last book.
Yeah, you're right. So I guess that's it for James Patterson. We have a plethora of James Patterson options for you across all ages.
Sure do.
So if you're curious, come on in and check it out. Thanks to our guest, Steve, for joining us for the magical 8th time. Thanks, Eric, for turning up here 102 times.
Thanks, man.
Every single day.
Yeah.
Let's look at your beautiful little face.
Huh.
And
my apparently New Zealand-like face, as somebody pointed out to me.
Yeah, it's a weird compliment, but you should accept it.
Yeah.
What's coming up at the library? For adults, we have local author Stephen Jacoby is coming on Tuesday the 1st at 6 o'clock.
Good.
To talk about his latest books. On Tuesday the 8th, we have a historical presentation about the town of Blissville, where we're going to see a documentary and just talk a little bit about the area. Looks like it's going to be a fascinating topic, so I hope you join us for that. Book clubs, as I mentioned, are reading Nobody Knows by Mary Jane Clark.
Oh, no!
And Where'd You Go, Bernadette
Yeah.
by Maria Semple.
Yeah.
Summer reading program goes through August 4th, so you have a little more time to sign up and vie for that prize, but you only got one more week, so you better hurry. Anything you want to mention for teens? The usual stuff happening?
This week, we're making lip balm.
Exciting.
Yeah. So
full slate for young kids, middle-aged kids. Is that a thing? And
middle-aged
teens.
kids.
A lot of stuff going on. So
kids in their middle age
check
going
your
through their
library
middle-aged
calendar and join us.
We have a
for
therapy
all of
dog
that.
coming in for kids.
That's exciting.
That's Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
Tuesday the 1st.
Therapy dogs, I think. Mm-hmm. But kids are not invited because I'm just going to be
You're
playing
just
with
going
the
to play
dogs.
with the therapy dogs.
And,
Okay.
Yeah. Feel very calm, surrounded by a bunch of therapy. Hopefully a golden retriever.
Hopefully.
Maybe a. What other dogs make good therapy dogs?
I don't think now's the time to discuss it.
Boxers?
Sure. Anyway, that's going to do it for episode 102. Say goodbye, Steve.
Goodbye.
You can say goodbye too, Eric.
Goodbye. What are we talking about next week?
I don't know. We'll find out in
All right.
episode 103.